Kahula Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Akakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone over well. I am not a member, however, I've entered into their labors. Peace and mercy to the sincere brothers and sisters doing this wherever you are, whatever your lot may be. And this is a example of, things, the Lord will slowly turn the tide, right? Nothing happens at the drop of a hat or, a snap of the finger. Can it? Obviously. Does it? No. And as the curses had slowly come upon us until we were overtaken, that will be a switch, and the curses will slowly come upon them until they will be overtaken. Okay, it's your turn. It simply is your turn, and the Lord has been more than fair, right? Giving E rulership twice, with the other nations only getting one shot, right? And this is a great example of what I'd like to call, what I like to think I've coined, because I don't know if anybody has said it, but the Haman effect. If you don't know who Haman is, if you read through the book of Esther, all right, Haman was trying to set up the Israelites, right, mainly through Mordecai. And Mordecai, I believe his niece was Esther, I believe, or not his daughter, I think it was his niece. And she was, and her name was changed, right? So she married the, gosh, is it the, I believe this was through the Persian kingdom. It had to be, yeah, or was it Babylon? We're going to go through it. Let me just double check here so I don't give the wrong information. Did Esther Persian king, or it had to be Persian? Or, we're going to see. Hold on. Let me just double check. Yes, she married the Persian king Ahasuerus. Okay, so that time period is going to be 486 through 465 before a common era, or BCE. Okay, it's set during the Achaemenid or the Persian Empire. All right, after the Babylonian exile. Okay, so I had to make sure. Sometimes you get a little rusty. And we fast forward. You need to read that if you haven't. But basically, Haman, who was an E, was trying to get the Edom, or trying to get the Israelites wiped out, which, okay, through the same thing from Genesis 24, when it tells you, between Jacob and E, all right, and E says a pivotal thing, and he says, the days of my father, mourning for my father at hand, I will slay my brother Jacob. And that was not just them too. This was a generational thing to be passed on through every dispensation and every iteration and each incarnation. All right. And Jake has a spirit. E has a spirit. And that's the only way that you can explain the hatred, to explain why, especially in modern times. When I say modern times, I do mean the last 700 years. There has been such a persecution upon Jake, right? Only recently has this been made about race and color and pseudoscience and all this other stuff. All right. So if we fast forward here, if we go to Second Esther, the book of Esther, you read this on your own, right? We're gonna go straight here and read 7:1. So let's go there real quick. We'll go to Esther 7:1, because this is where I just want to get to the point, and this is where Haman meets his end, and everything he set up, right? All of his wicked inventions were turned upon his own head. Dang it, went too far. And we're gonna go to. We'll just start at the top. It's cool. All right. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther, the queen. And the king said again unto Esther, or the second day and the banquet of the wine, or the second day at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom. All right, Esther was pleasing unto the king, right? And there's another thing that's an example here on another hand, when you are pleasing, right? Because we are, as a nation, especially the hopeful elect, we are the woman of the Most High. And if you are pleasing, if you are humble and contrite, you get a lot farther. Okay, and the scriptures tell you how to behave, what proper vibration to be under if you want your prayers to be heard. So, moving on. Then Esther the queen answered and said, If I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition and my people at my request. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed and to be slain and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. All right, so we'll get that real quick in the NLT. I'm just going to read it out here. I'm going to switch it. But basically, she would say, I wouldn't, if we were just sold into slavery, I wouldn't bother trying to make a petition. But, this nigga Haman, he going too far. And I believe, what is this, countervail, verse 4. So let's get Bibles, and I'm going to read it here. NLT first. For my people and I have been sold to those who would kill, slaughter, and annihilate us. If we had merely been sold as slaves, I could remain quiet, for that would be too trivial matter to warrant disturbing the king. All right, that's the NLT. The NIV, for I and my people have been sold to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated. If we had merely been sold as male and female slaves, I would have kept quiet, because no such distress would justify disturbing the king. All right, we're moving on to verse 5. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, Who is he? And where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so? Right, so he overstepping his bounds, and he is a habitual line stepper. I don't remember the comedian that said that, but gosh, was it fitting. Habitual, Charlie Murphy, I believe, said he was a habitual line stepper on the Chappelle Show. All right, verse 6, and Esther said, the adversary, and that's prophetic, or that's spiritual right there. The adversary and enemy is this wicked, right? And who is called the devil, right? Or the deceiver, the adversary, right? The accuser of the brethren, the number one enemy to Jake, the wicked, or this wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen, and the king arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make his request for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king. Then the king returned out of his palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was. Then said the king, Will he force the queen also before me in this house? And the word, God, what that had to be. I know he was, somebody pooped his pants. Haman, boy, that's a pucker factor right there. You put right on the spot in front of the king. Like, you cook, buddy. But anyway, will he force the queen also before me in this house? As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face just like that. Before he can finish saying, seize him, that boy's face was covered up, and it is time for you to get on up out of here. All right, in verse 9, and Harbona, the one of the chamberlains, said before the king, Behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoke good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, Hang him thereon. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified. All right. And on that day, this is chapter 8, verse 1, because it continues. On that day did King Ahasuerus give the house of Haman and the Israelites' enemy unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, gave it unto Mordecai, and Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. All right. So as you see, everything was put in its proper place, which is, another, symbol of things to come, right, on a larger level, where things will be returned to its proper place, right, where the slave will be put on the bottom, and the kings and the princes will be returned to their rightful station. Okay, All right, if you read a little bit farther down, if you, I believe, where it also says he's an Agagite somewhere, Hamadatha the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy. Yeah. So if you read verse 5, okay, so Agagites, you can look, these are these are sons of Idumea here, okay? Let's see, reverse the letter. Yep, okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get to, let me see, make sure. Yeah, everything was made right, basically. So you need to read the book of Esther if you have not. And simply what this is just this is why I call it the Haman effect. Everything that they set out, especially modern day, the polluting of the water, the drinking of the wine, the philosophies that they put upon for Jake to be destroyed. Now it is on them. Look what's happening. They tried to cut Jake off, and now look.
Is underway in our country. A new study from the Zucker School of Medicine finds that for the first time, minority births now make up the majority nationwide. Researchers analyzed more than 33 million births over the past 8 years.
White births in the U.S. have fallen below 50% for the first time ever. That's among the findings in a new study published today by professors from the Zucker School of Medicine at Hofstra Northwell. One of those researchers, Dr. Amos Grunebaum, calls it a historic milestone.
Minority women were now the majority. The majority of birth in the United States for the first time.
The study analyzed CDC data on 33 million births in the U.S., tracking trends by the mother's race and ethnicity. It revealed white births at 49.6%, while other groups taken together, including Hispanic, Black, and Asian, made up 50.4% of all births. The analysis also offered an explanation for the shifting demographics,
Which would also explain why even not only biblical hate, but why they want to they harm babies in the right as soon as they come out of the womb, in the NICU. Right then and as soon as so-called black babies are born. Historically, they have done this, and it is a systematic. Or the racism is systematic. It is woven into the very fabric. Right? This is Psalms 28 and 4. Actually, we'll start at 3. Draw me not away with the wicked, and with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief is in their heart. Give them according to their deeds, and according to the wickedness of their endeavors. Give them after the work of their hand, and render to them their desert. Because they regard not the works of the Lord, nor the operations of his hand, he shall destroy them and not build them up. Right? And another thing that what goes with that is come out of her, my people, right? Because certain of our people, I mean, they're coming out of that stupor because the man of sin is being revealed. But those who would still follow this system, follow his ways, follow his philosophies, but hate him, the man, you're going to have to come up out of that, or you will receive the very same punishment they slotted for them. You want to align yourself with them, then you will reap the reward. So we'll just get that. We'll just, Revelation 18 and 4, right? We'll just go ahead and get it. I just said it. Straight to the point here. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and power hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her. Double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double.
Among Hispanic women, they have children usually at an earlier age, and they have more children than white women have. White women usually delay childbirth. It's a known fact, and they have less children.
coupled with well-documented...
Like they tried to do Jay, why y'all having all these kids? Put your career first. You don't need no da-da-da-da-da. That Gloria Steinem thing, man. And look, it come back to bite them. Everything they do comes back to bite them. And that is an act of mercy upon the Lord, right? It does hit us, and we get hit hard. But that is because we have fallen, or not fallen, we have disobeyed. Yeah, so we were put in a lower state, right? But at the end of the day, it always comes back on them. And the measure ye dish is the measure ye receive. But this time, it ain't. You've done so much, it had to be double. It's a terrible time to be one of you.
Disparities when it comes to maternal health for minority women and children. Dr. Grunebaum says these findings aren't just statistics. He says current efforts to restrict immigration and cut Medicaid hurt the very women keeping American births alive and growing the country.
Major
Got to be more careful. Your own poverty. What did it? I don't remember. Some creator on here on one of these social media platforms said racism is expensive, even at the very cost of your own heaven, which it was meant to be in the end anyway, but by your own hand. Because you hate. God, dog. What a poetic ending. Obadiah 1:15, for the day of the Lord, or for the day of Yahweh, is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done. It shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Yeah, I mean, we could end it there. I think we will. This was just something quick, hit real, just to bring a little scripture out and rejoice. And I pray that you were edified. So on to the next.